everyone, welcome back. Today is a very exciting video. We're going to be trying the new Saie Glowy Super Skin Lightweight Luminous Foundation. I am so excited for this one. I had an alarm set on my phone for the day that this came out so I could order it. I'm so excited. I did not get this in PR, so this is a review from somebody who bought it with their own money. I didn't get the cute purple suitcase that everybody, it seems like, has gotten. So I'm excited to try this out with you. Before we get into the video, I've been thinking about how I want to structure this video, and I'm thinking I'm going to do a 3-day wear test instead of just doing one day putting the video up. I'm thinking today is Saturday. I want to put this video up on Monday. So I'm thinking I'll wear it today, tomorrow, and Monday, and I will show you my thoughts and the wear each day and give you a 3-day wear test. I just think that'll be more helpful and more interesting. So hopefully that sounds good to you. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you'll subscribe, and let's get started. All right, a little bit about the foundation. It is the Glowy Super Skin Lightweight Hydro Bounce Serum Foundation. I keep wanting to call it the Glowy Super Gel because that's like one of their most well-known products, and I do have that and love it, but I keep wanting to call this foundation that. I am so excited for this. So this retails for $40. It comes in 36 shades. It is a medium buildable coverage, serum consistency, and I believe that's about it. Those are all the claims that it really makes. Just says a lightweight serum foundation with medium buildable coverage that brightens and leaves a luminous finish. Blends easily for a hydrated and seamless second skin appearance. From what I've seen in the promos for this foundation, it's kind of a skincare infused foundation. I've heard it's more skincare than it is foundation from what I've seen. You do get 1 fluid ounce, which is standard for most foundations. A little bit about me and my skin. My skin is very normal but sensitive. I don't really struggle with dryness or oiliness. I can get a little bit oily when it's really hot out in my T-zone, specifically like on the sides of my nose. But other than that, my skin is pretty normal, but I do have sensitive skin. Let's get into it. I got the shade number 7. Kind of went back and forth between 6 and 7, but I ended up going with 7. This is described as light with neutral undertones. So this is what it looks like. It looks like the Glowy Super Gel, just smaller. It says to shake well on the bottle. I can tell it's super liquidy. I can hear it like when I'm shaking it. I did pump a little bit of this out on my hand earlier when the UPS guy dropped it off because I just couldn't stand it. Now they did come out with a brush to go with this. I think it's just called the base brush. I thought about getting it, but I ended up not getting it because I really don't need it. So we are going to use my tried and true BK Beauty 106 today. I just cleaned it so it's nice and clean for this. They actually say to pump the foundation directly onto the brush. I don't ever really do that, so I'm gonna do it the way I normally do. So I have a little bit on my hand. It's very liquidy. I'm not using primer today, but I'm thinking tomorrow I will try it with a primer since we're doing a 3-day wear test. But I'm just gonna do this like I normally would. So I don't have any primers or anything like that, just my normal skincare underneath today. All right, I have some left on the back of my hand. I did pump out 1 full pump. So we will start to blend this in. So it blended in really, really easily on that side. I've actually tried quite a bit from Saie. I have their skin tint that I can't think of the name of now off the top of my head. I have their bronzer. I have a blush from them. I have the concealer. So I've tried quite a bit from that brand. So there it is, just kind of lightly blended all over. I would say this is like a light medium coverage, not light, but definitely not medium, kind of right in between. All right, I'm gonna take some more that's on the back of my hand and see how buildable this is, because it does claim to be buildable. It's definitely extremely dewy, which I would assume usually serum products are. And then I'm not sure, but I'm assuming this has the glowy super gel in it. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I would assume it's got something similar to that in here. So this is one whole pump. I like the finish of it. It is definitely very, very dewy, extremely dewy. Looks pretty. I would say this is not like a full medium coverage. I would say it's still like a light medium, close to medium coverage, and I used one whole pump. It's very pretty though. I have to say, just from this first application, I like this side, which is my left side, the look of it better than the right side. I applied more foundation over here than I did over here. I did go in with a little bit of a second layer over here, but there wasn't much left on the back of my hand. So I'm not sure how much I'm gonna love like building up layers of this. And it's probably just because it is that glowy, serumy texture. Also, there is no smell, which I'm very happy about. So yeah, those are kind of my initial thoughts. Very pretty. I think the shade is actually pretty good for me. Okay, I zoomed you in some more so you could see a little bit better. So I don't have a huge issue with texture or pores or anything. If I do notice the pores in my face, it's right here. And I mean, I definitely can see the pores there. It's not blurring by any means, but it doesn't claim to be. I'm very curious though how this will look on my skin after it's been sitting there for a while. And it also makes me wonder how this would be with more of a pore smoothing primer underneath, since we did not prime today. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But first impression is it's pretty. I want to see how products apply over the top and how this looks after it's been sitting on my skin for a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I am going to powder this, but I'll come back and do that with you on camera. So I will see you in just a second. All right, so I've done most of my base makeup other than powder. One thing I did want to say is the foundation works really beautifully with other Saie products, as I would assume that it would. I did use the Saie concealer today. I'm not sure what I did with it, but I did use that under my eyes. And then I also used this combo of blushes, the blush in the shade Rosy and Chili, and I mixed them. And everything applied beautifully over this foundation, as I would assume that it would, but I did just want to say that. Another thing I'm noticing is I feel like it still looks super glowy, like we definitely need to powder it, but I do think after it sits on your skin for, I don't know, like 10 or 15 minutes, it seems to dry down a bit. It doesn't look quite as reflective, but it's still very glowy. I do think it looks better now though than it looked initially after I applied it. Okay, I don't own the Saie powder, so I'm going to use one that I know that I love, that I use all the time. I'm going to use the Haus Labs loose powder in the shade Translucent. I would imagine most people are going to want to set this. Even no matter your skin type, I would assume this is probably one you're going to want to set. So I'm going to apply this in my T-zone, kind of focusing it right here because that's where it looks the shiniest. Like, can you see the difference there between that and that right there? This is not a Haus Labs video, but this powder is fantastic if you haven't tried it. I will link it below. Okay, yeah, so already looking better with some powder. This with the House Labs powder, oh my gosh, I feel like that powder totally transformed the way this looks in this area. It just mattified, but it didn't take away all the glow. Like you can see, I still have a lot of glow on my face, but it just toned it down substantially. I'm telling you, this is fantastic. I'll link it below. It is so good. This looks really, really good now. I have to say I like it more with that bit of powder on. So I'm gonna wear this all day long. I have to finish my makeup obviously, but I'm gonna wear this all day. I have some errands to run after this, and I'm gonna try to get some clips in my car in natural light because I feel like you can really see everything in your car. So I'll do that, and I'll be back a little later today and we will finish up day one. But so far I like this, but I want to play around with it some more and see how it wears today, obviously. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, you guys, so I'm in my car and I wanted to show you this foundation in natural light. It's only been on for about 3 hours at this point. I do feel like from a distance it looks pretty good. I do feel like in natural light you can definitely notice texture a little bit more in my skin than what I would typically notice. But I mean, it hasn't really worn off. It just looks, I don't know, it looks pretty shiny. So I can only imagine how shiny it would look if I didn't set with powder. So this is what it's looking like, but I'm gonna keep this on. I'm gonna be outside for a little bit, so I'm excited to see how it wears for a few more hours. So I will see you guys in a bit. All right, you guys, it's the end of the day and I'm about to take my makeup off, but I wanted to show you what this foundation looks like at the end of the day. So this is it. I have not touched up my face. The only thing I did do was touch up my lips a little bit, but other than that, this is the makeup that I had on earlier when you saw me apply it. I do think it's worn pretty well. I don't notice places where it's really worn off, to be honest, and I still feel like in this area, I was out earlier and I had my sunglasses on, and I mean, it wore maybe a little bit on the sides of my nose, but not very much at all. My skin still looks kind of glowy. I do think like right here in this area, it almost looks a little bit on the dry side, which is interesting because this foundation is so glowy when you put it on. So I don't know if that's from the powdering, the House Labs powder from earlier in the day or what. It looks okay. I do think I've lost a little bit of coverage like right in this area. But other than that, I think it looks nice. It looks very natural. It looks very skin-like and pretty impressed so far. But I'm not so excited like you need to go out and try this immediately, but we've only tried it one time. That's why I wanted to do a 3-day wear test. But overall, I would say the wear is pretty good on it. I don't know at this point if you have super oily skin, if you would love this. I need to test this out a little bit more for the next few days and see what I'm thinking in terms of if you'd like it, if you have an oilier skin type. I don't know just yet, but I kind of want to try it tomorrow with a pore filling primer like the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer, see how it works with a primer as opposed to today with no primer. So far, I'm pretty impressed. I was out and about quite a bit today and I feel like it held up really well. But first day, first impression is pretty good. We're not to like NARS light reflecting status. That is my all-time favorite. Love that so much. This one is good though. So far, so good. But I am gonna wear it tomorrow, so I will see you then and we will try it out again. It's day 2 of trying the Saie foundation. We're gonna do it a little bit differently today. I have used the same skincare underneath, but today I really want to use the primer that I've really been loving lately, and it's this one from Rare Beauty. It's their Pore Diffusing Primer. I really like this. I only use 1 pump of it, but I like it for foundations in particular that lean pretty glowy, which this one definitely does. I find that this just kind of helps the foundation lay a little bit better on my skin. And it also kind of gives the foundation something to kind of grip onto. So I want to use this today and see what I think, or if I think it makes a difference with this foundation. So I'm just kind of working this in, and then I like to let it sit for a few minutes. Okay, so the primer's been on for about 5 minutes. Now let's go in with the foundation. So if you hopefully saw day one, but if not, this is the new Saie foundation in the shade number 7, and we're doing a 3-day wear test on it. Yesterday I applied it with no primer at all, just my normal skincare, and then today we're gonna try it with the Rare Beauty primer. I just want to see, because it is so glowy, I just want to see how it works with something that's more mattifying underneath. And something else I thought about after I finished filming yesterday is I've seen some people that put the glowy super gel underneath this as a primer. I do not know how you would do that. Unless you are like extremely dry. I feel like this is glowy enough on its own. I feel like putting that glowy super gel on underneath would be, I mean, that would be just a lot of glow, which some people like, but I feel like you don't need to do that with this product. If this is the foundation that you're using, I feel like that's good to use if you're using something over the top that's not necessarily matte, but not this glowy. Yesterday, I thought that it looked better on my skin the longer it kind of had to sit, which is interesting. But then I also thought it looked the absolute best after I had done the rest of my makeup and I put some of my Haus Labs powder on over it. It just kind of toned down the glowiness, like just the right amount. I don't know that I can say I think this is a medium coverage foundation. I think they say it's buildable medium. But what I did notice yesterday when I went in and applied more after the first layer is that's when it starts to look really glowy looking. Like, I don't know if it's just the layering of it. You get more and more of that glow, obviously, so it looks a bit thicker and just more noticeable on your skin. So I'm thinking this is going to be one of those foundations where I'm going to probably like to apply a thin layer of it all over and then spot conceal with my concealer later on if I need to. I just feel like if you put too much of this on, I didn't love how it looked on my skin after I did that yesterday. I only did it on one side of my face, but anyway, for that reason, today I'm not going to go in and get any more product. I'm going to pull out my handheld mirror here so I can see up close. I mean, it looks nice on my skin. I don't know that I think it looks that different with that Rare Beauty primer underneath than without it. I still feel like right here, which is where I notice texture the most in my skin, looks about the same today as it did yesterday, even with no primer. So now I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup like I did yesterday. And I am gonna set my face again with powder, but I'll come back and do that with you again. I'm gonna use the same powder, the Haus Labs powder. And then again, I'm gonna wear this all day long and we'll kind of see how it wears with primer as opposed to no primer yesterday. But I will finish my makeup and see you in just a second. All right, so I've got most of my base, or all of my base makeup on other than powder. So we're gonna powder with the same thing again. This is the Haus Labs powder in translucent. And I'm using the Sephora 55 brush. I don't know if this ever like picks up on camera, like how much this blurs, like this area. It's crazy. So there's the complexion. I used some different things today than I used yesterday, but I will have everything listed below. if you're curious. To me, even with that Rare Beauty primer underneath, I feel like this foundation just looks better with that powder over the top. I don't know, it just looks a little too reflective, I guess, with nothing, in my opinion, even with the primer underneath. Honestly, I feel like it looks about the same today, just right after application. But obviously the most important thing is how it wears throughout the day. So I'm gonna finish up my makeup and then I will see you in a few hours and we'll see how it's holding up. All right, I figured I would go ahead and show you what the makeup looks like finished, and then we'll do a check-in in a few hours. But this is what it looks like. It looks pretty good. I'm not blown away by how it looks on me, to be totally honest. I think I like it much, much better when I put that House Labs powder over the top. At this point, it's kind of reminding me of something else that is less expensive than this, and I love it. And if you've been watching my videos, you probably know what it is. The Revlon Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation. Very, very similar to this. On me, I like it a little bit better, to be totally honest, as opposed to this. They're similar. I find that the Revlon, I like the way it sits on my skin a little bit better, even before I powder it. And the Revlon one wears really well on me. But I'm not saying I don't like this one. I'm just saying that's kind of like I'm thinking in my head right now. But it's nice. I want to see how it wears today though with the primer. So I will go ahead and see you guys in a few hours and we'll see how it's looking. All right, you guys, it's been about 5-ish hours now since I applied this foundation. I haven't touched it up at all. This is what it's looking like. I'm just standing in front of a window. Honestly, it looks okay. It hasn't really worn off significantly anywhere. It looks okay. I can't say that I love how it looks on my skin. I don't know what it is exactly. I like it, but I'm not obsessed with it for some reason. I keep thinking I'm gonna like have this revelation of why. I mean, it's pretty, don't get me wrong. I still feel like I look pretty shiny, and I did powder quite a bit like you saw earlier. So I don't know, if you have extremely oily skin, I just don't know that this is gonna be your favorite thing in the world. But I mean, it's worn well. I just don't know if I love how it looks on me personally. Something else, I don't think it's really made a huge difference with that Rare Beauty primer. I honestly don't even feel like it's made that big a difference in terms of the texture of my skin. I feel like it looks about the same as it normally does, and typically the Rare Beauty primer does a really good job of just smoothing over my skin. It's not like a miracle worker or anything, and I don't even have that much texture, but I don't know. I feel like it hasn't made that big a difference, but I'm gonna keep wearing this obviously, and I'll see you in a few hours and we will wrap up day number 2. All right, you guys, it's the end of day 2. It's been on for about 7.5 hours now. Still have not touched up my face or anything. I have to say, I do think I like the way it wore today better than yesterday, and I'm assuming it's probably because of the primer. But today I actually didn't even leave the house. I have been home all day just cleaning, doing laundry, all those kinds of things, and I think it wore the best today. So I don't know if it's because I didn't leave the house or if it's because I had the primer on today. I did leave the house and I did not have primer on yesterday. I don't know, but I do think, like, sitting here looking at it now, it doesn't look as good as when I first applied it, but most foundations don't. After 7.5, 8 hours of wear, I do feel like, I don't know, overall it looks pretty good. My cheeks are still pretty glowy, but not like in a bad way, just like in a natural kind of healthy glow way. And this area looks pretty matte. Earlier when I was in the direct sunlight, I was thinking it looked a little shiny here, but looking at it right now, it really doesn't look that shiny. It still looks really matte right here. and pretty smooth. I mean, I do definitely notice my pores if I look, but everybody has pores. You are going to notice them most of the time with most foundations. But overall, I like it better today than I did yesterday. I do still think it is very reminiscent of the Revlon Skin Caring Foundation that I've been loving. That one, something about that one just really reminds me of this. Even the consistency of the two, very similar, very runny, serum-y texture, not a ton of coverage, glowy. I would say this one is a little bit glowier than the Revlon, but the Revlon is definitely a glowier foundation. It's really reminding me of that one, and I do think I still prefer the Revlon over this one, but it's hard to say with foundations. You have to keep trying it and wearing it different ways. That's why I wanted to do the 3-day wear test with this one. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with how it looks today. So I'm gonna wear it one more day tomorrow and we'll see what my final thoughts are. But as of right now, I like it. It's not a new favorite as of right now. It's kind of okay. It's not bad. It's not the best thing ever. It's just kind of okay for me. But I'm gonna wear it again tomorrow, so I will see you then for day 3. Okay, welcome to day 3, testing the new Saie foundation. I decided instead of applying this all over my face today, we're gonna do a side-by-side and I'm gonna compare it to the foundation I mentioned yesterday, which is this one from Revlon. It's the Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation. They're similar, but I still feel like I like the Revlon better, and I figured I would just show you side by side and we'll wear them all day today and I'll kind of sum up my thoughts. But before we do that, I do want to apply a little bit of primer. Today we're going to use a different primer. I'm going to use the Power Grip from e.l.f. with niacinamide. So I'm just going to kind of press this into my skin and then give it a few minutes to set down. Okay, the primer's been on for about 5 minutes and now we'll go on to the foundation. So I quickly want to show you kind of a comparison of the formulas of these two. So the Saie looks like this. It's very, very runny. As you can see, this is the shade number 7. And then this is the Revlon Skin Caring Foundation in 117, which is right here. So you can see the Revlon is not as runny as the Saie one, but they both have a serum-like feel to them, in my opinion. This one is just more liquidy. All right, so I'm gonna go in with Saie first, and I'm gonna put that on this side, which is my right. Now these shades are definitely not identical, so there's that, but it's okay. I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 106 to apply the Saie foundation, and we'll use a different brush on the other side to apply the Revlon one. So we've got the Saie on. I have a little bit more on my hand, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. So there we have Saie. Let's do Revlon on the other side. And this is a different brush. This is the Smashbox Blurring Foundation brush. Something else that is very similar about these two foundations is they also market the Revlon as a skincare foundation, and they do the same with the Saie Beauty one. So here we have the two sides. So we have the Saie foundation on this side and the Revlon foundation over here. Finish wise on my skin, they look very, very similar to me, which is why I wanted to compare them. I did use a little bit more product on the Saie side than I did on the Revlon side because I have more discoloration and redness over here. I usually add a little bit more product on this side of my face than I do over here. But I would say the coverage level that you can get with these is about the same. No more than a lighter medium coverage. But I mean, don't they look very similar? I want to wear these like I've done the last 2 days all day long, and we'll compare and see what we think. But so far I'm thinking this may be a possible dupe for this, but we got to try it out. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back. We'll do the powder, the same powder we used the last 2 days, the house powder, and then I'll wear these all day and we'll see what we think at the end of day 3. Okay, I finished most of my face makeup other than powder, so we'll go in with the House Labs powder that we've used for this whole video in the shade Translucent. So again, we have Saie on this side and Revlon on this side. So I'm using the Sephora 55 brush, kind of tapping off the excess and just setting my face with this. I'm gonna set my whole face pretty lightly with the powder, other than my under eyes. I'm gonna leave unset. I used the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Concealer today, and I don't really love that one with powder on it. All right, so this is what it's looking like. So Saie is on this side, Revlon is on this side. I mean, they look very, very similar. I definitely prefer the Saie with powder. Like I said, the last few days, I feel the same way. Today, when I look at it, the Saie on my skin just looks a little bit heavier. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like I can see the makeup more on this side of my face than I can over here. But the finish is just, it's very, very similar. So I'm gonna obviously wear these all day long with no touch-ups or anything, and we'll see what we think at the end of the day. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup. I'll come back and show you what it's looking like, and then I will wear this for the rest of the day. Okay, so I finished my makeup, and this is what these foundations are looking like. I don't know, you'll have to tell me what you think in the comments, but I just feel like they look very, very similar. So we have Saie over here and Revlon over here. When the Makeup by Mario foundation came out, so this one right here, I had said, I think in an Instagram reel, maybe a TikTok, I can't remember, that this one, the Revlon, reminded me of this on my skin. I actually think the Saie is even more similar to this than this one. This has a very similar finish on your skin, but it's a much thicker formula. It's more of a cream type formula. Definitely different from these two. I would say this, as of right now, is very, very similar to this, but I want to see the wear today. Obviously, I've been pretty impressed with how the Saie wears on my skin. I don't find that it wears off on me. I do think it stays, but I haven't loved how it sits on my skin throughout the day. And I don't ever really have that thought with the Revlon foundation, so that's why I wanted to compare them. But as of now, they look pretty similar. I do think the Revlon side looks a little bit more smooth on my skin overall. This side doesn't look bad. I just think I notice my skin texture just a little bit more on the Saie side than I do on the Revlon side. But I'm gonna go ahead and obviously wear this all day, and I'll come back and show you what it's looking like in a few hours. Okay, so it's been like 4.5 hours now, and I'm just standing in front of a window again, like I've been doing the last few days. So this is what we're looking like. This is Revlon over here. This is Saie over here. I do think they've worn the best today, and the only thing super different that I did was I used e.l.f. Power Grip. Like no wear really at all. I do feel like the Revlon side still looks a little bit more smooth than the Saie side, but honestly they look very, very similar. And I feel like they're wearing well, both of them. So this is what we're looking like at 4.5 hours, but I'm gonna wear this for probably another 3-4 hours or so, and then I'll be back and we'll wrap up the video. But today they're both looking really good. I'm telling you guys though, this Revlon one, it's a lot less expensive and it looks almost the same. All right, you guys, it's the end of the day. I did change clothes, so that's why I have on a different shirt, but I wanted to close out the video and just kind of give you my final thoughts on the Saie foundation. Today, I kind of said earlier, and I still think the same thing. Today, it's worn the best, I think. So this is the Saie side. Let me zoom you in a little. So this is the Saie side, and this is the Revlon side. They both look great. I expected the Revlon too because I've worn that one a ton, and I love the way it wears on me. But even the Saie has worn the best today, and I don't know why that is. The only major difference is the primer. We use the e.l.f. Power Grip today. But it looks the smoothest it's looked of the 3 days today. It looks glowy, but not overly glowy right now, and I still feel like this area looks pretty good. I don't feel like it's really emphasizing texture a whole lot. I still think if you have very, very oily skin, I don't know that you will love this. At the end of the day, you like different things, I like different things, everybody likes different things in makeup and especially foundation. I like this, but I don't know that I can tell you that I absolutely love it and that I think it's, you know, a new favorite for me. I would still use my Revlon one. I love it, and this one looks great and wears great on me regardless of if I prime with a certain primer or not. I personally would still choose Revlon, but I think the Saie is nice, but I don't think everybody's gonna love it. And I'm not disappointed by it, but I'm not as excited about it as I thought I was going to be. I kind of feel the same way about the Saie foundation that I feel about this one, the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin. When this came out, I thought I was going to be over the moon, obsessed, so excited about it. And I do like it, but I don't love it. I do think no matter what skin type you have, this is probably going to be one you need to set with some powder. As soon as I applied the powder all 3 days, it looked so much better to me. It's still glowy, but it just tones the glow down just a little bit and kind of helps lock everything in. But overall, I like it. I don't love it. I would still choose my Revlon, but I do think there are some people out there that will really love it. So I hope this 3-day wear test was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will have everything listed and linked below for you. I will also list the makeup I wore all 3 days if you were curious. That will all be below in the description box. I will also leave my link for the Sephora Squad to leave me a testimonial in the description box below. Thank you so much to all of you that have already done that. It just means the world to me, and if you have a second, I would love it if you would leave me a short little testimonial just talking about what you like about me and my content, and hopefully we get chosen. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1, and I will see you next time for another video. Remember, simply be you. Bye.